Raging Review.
The Raging Cajuns will be a source of pride for this university, for the alumni, fans, and donors as we achieve success in the classroom, in the competitive arena, and in the community.
It's about to get really fun.
We're looking for dudes that will stand up. Well, Coach, let me tell you today, I'm here and I'm ready to stand up. And I challenge you, Raging Cajun Nation, to stand up with us. Stand up with us. Let's lock hand in hand and let's walk through the gates of Omaha.
Hey, I love y'all boys. Let's grind every day starting today. Let's do it. Y'all ready? Alert! Ready? Who's that team ready? Who's that team ready? Yes, sir.
I got one thing to say right here. Cajuns win!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Raging Review podcast with your boy Joshua, who is the TSAB heartthrob. I am your boy Nick, Cajun killer. I'm also forgetting to stop making this go twice, so there we go. You know, it's been a long couple days, man. Didn't get much sleep last night, Josh. We were so torn up about losing the TSAB on Tuesday that, I mean, I cried myself to sleep, bro.
I don't know how we recover, honestly. It's just going to be it's a long road back. It's just midweek games that really kill your season.
Midweek games, yeah. I mean, the parade was nice though, man. We had so much stuff lined up for the midweek World Series parade this year, and the T-shirts and all that good stuff, but that was all derailed by the Cajuns' sad performance.
Truth be told, though, it's really hard to follow up an original. And you're never going to beat.
We're never going to do that. Yeah,
never going to beat the original. So,
in fact, our boy Dave was talking about us on his show today. He was mentioning about when we beat them in 24 or 23, whenever it was. It was 23, I think. And we did the World Series parade thing, and he was like, that was hilarious. It's like, I don't know if they really made T-shirts, but there were T-shirt designs. Like, no, man, we didn't really make T-shirts, Dave.
What's funny is that, like, people still are unsure. Was it a parade? Was it not? Was it a joke? In some people's minds, especially in Baton Rouge, it happened. Shirts were made. There were gates put out. Traffic was stopped. This was a real thing to people in Baton Rouge.
Everybody, and they showed. Look, those folks who climbed out of the mama's basement to talk about us last night. They sure were. They were at the parade. They know for a fact we had the parade, and this was their revenge on that. So, man, what a night. Let's talk about the game first, Josh, before we get into the other silliness, because boy, we got a lot out there. I don't know how I became the pariah of Rage and Review, but here I am taking one for the team. Or
well, they vacillate. They go from one to the next. Everybody's got to take one for the team. I mean, I've been the bad guy, and I guess right now you're the flavor of the week. But it'll move on to Jerry, and then it'll move on to Lane. Which, God forbid, who could go after Lane?
Poor Lane. Poor Lane's the guy who posted the video when we went up 1-0, and then they scored 9 right after. Yeah, way to go, Lane.
First of all, talking about the game though, if you watch how that inning went, only scratching one right there was kind of a harbinger for things to come, because in truth, it should have been bases loaded, nobody out, and even the run that we scored was a bang bang play. So it was a harbinger of things to come. And who didn't know the catcher was going to hit a bomb right there? Who didn't know that Bear was going to hit one out right there? I mean, it's just it was a comedy of errors.
And that's what I think makes it even funnier, the reaction from those folks. It's like, we knew this was coming, bro. Like, nobody was out there talking crap, saying we would kick their ass. We knew. I mean, we're struggling. And look, we'll talk about some of the things that we're hearing as well, and the weirdness going on. But like, we know, like, we're going into the number 8, which they should probably still be number 2 team in the country. And
I totally agree.
That's what we expected.
They're a top 5 team, no question. Talent's insane. Great baseball team. I got nothing to say badly about their roster. But if we're just talking about an overview, right, it's not an excuse. We started 5 kids. We started 5 18-year-olds. We pitched a guy who's been in relief the majority of the game. Now, I know, the majority of the season. Now, I know he did start against LSU last year and did quite well. I think he gave up 3 in 6 innings. But he's been used in a completely different capacity, and he's been injured. He's coming off injury. I'm not saying that that's why he couldn't throw strikes early on. So, I mean, let's just be as honest as we can. But you can't walk people. And I had to listen to a portion of the broadcast because we were leaving U Sports. So I missed probably the first 15 minutes, probably the first 3 walks. You got to make the adjustment there. And I know a lot of those pitches were borderline. And I know we're going to be very LSU centric, so I'm going to take my time and walk our way through it. Like, dude, you got to make the adjustment. And one of my biggest concerns with our pitching staff is that we're just so scared to get hit. We're scared to throw the ball in the zone. And of course, you never want to leave something over the middle, especially against a very good hitting team. But at some point, you've got to make the adjustment, regardless of what the outcome is going to be. If you give a good hitting team free passes, it's not a question of if they're going to score, it's when they're going to score. At least if you make them earn it, the law of averages help you. You know what I mean? It's hard to string together 4 hits in an inning. It's hard to string together 6 hits. They scored 9 runs before we got 3 outs. And they don't do that unless we help them do that. So love Herm. Herm is a cornerstone of our pitching staff and our team. I think once we work him into a Saturday or Sunday role, he's going to be vital to conference, winning the conference and making a run in the postseason. But man, first of all, we can get into this too, and we kind of talked about this in the group chat. Why are you starting Herman? I think it's a reasonable question. Number one, why are you starting Herman? Number two, why is Matthew Holzhammer the number 2 option out of the pen on a Tuesday night?
No idea.
Some of this stuff, and fans are going to be fans, and I'm going to be a fan tonight. I'm not going to be analytical, level-headed, Matt. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be a fan tonight. I'm going to have a couple of pops, and I'm going to be a fan. Why the hell are you starting your second most reliable pitcher on the team tonight or on the Tuesday against LSU? Like, I get the RPI thing. I get the RPI formula, and I understand that at this point, a win in Baton Rouge might be a shot in the arm and a spark plug to your season. I get maybe the theory behind that. I don't think that that's what Deggs thought at the time, but let's just be fans. But Herm, Holzhammer, and then you go back with Grab, who was really good against Troy for a little, the 80% of his outing. I said this on Twitter. It felt desperate. I don't know if I'm the only one who felt that because I got a lot of private messages that agree. Felt desperate. So
I mean, I thought we were going to start Six Flags over Jesus. Maybe tonight with Osteen, and then maybe come back with Taylor and Gaither. I mean, I'm like, who the hell's Gaither? But that's what I wanted to see out of a midweek, right?
Well, if you're going to start the young guys, why are you not putting Will Taylor out there?
Right.
Where's Will Taylor? I mean, he's been effective. We've been hearing how Mandino's such a versatile guy out of the pen and everything, and we did see him finally, but why is he not maybe a number 2 or number 3 option? Why are you going Herm? I don't know. Like, I get that they still do that live bullpen stuff in the middle of the week, but you're talking about it. You're in the box against LSU, I think they're hitting 337 as a team, by the way. All right.
Oh, yeah, stupid.
How many stress pitches did he throw on last night? And we talk about that all the time. Like, if he's just going out there and you say, hey, we're up by 10, throw strikes, that is a completely different situation than, hey, we're going to start you against one of the best lineups in America, and hey, you do your best to keep him down while we can try to get some traction at the plate. That's totally different. He threw stress pitches the entire time he was on the mound. So, and I'm not killing Deggs and I'm not killing Gunner, not on this particular thing. I just question the philosophy. Why? I just wish I wish we could get somebody on the show to explain to us, like, what the hell is why are you doing that? We have a few injuries, sure, but Toit's a weekend arm. You're not starting Toit against LSU. He's a long relief weekend guy. He's the counterpart to J.R. Tillett. That's how I see him. I think that's mainly how.
No, definitely. That's how I see him too. I'm surprised they didn't start Simo or Tillett. I mean,
am I crazy though? Did it not feel a little bit desperate?
It just felt weird, and I don't know.
Doesn't make
desperate
sense.
is the word. It's just weird because that's what people were texting me, going, "What is he? What are we doing?
What the hell are you doing?
Specifically, what is he doing?"
Yeah.
Was the question. But what are we doing? And this makes no sense. And that was kind of that's kind of what we thought. And it wasn't like you're starting. I mean, before those TSAB fans start commenting, because I see we have almost 150 people watching right now. It's not about starting our ace guy. I mean, but we might as well have because,
Well, who's been more reliable?
I know. I mean, Simo's been injured, so he's only had, 2 starts this season? So, I don't know, man. It's head-scratching to see the least. As far as, obviously you go down and pitching had the major part, I think, of the way that this game went because you put yourself down by 8 runs in the first inning, and then you have to find a way to claw your way back. And we know how much of a strikeout team that we are. There was no way. I mean, you and I both knew, and I think anybody watching knew that we were not coming back from that. I mean, you put yourself behind the 8 ball right at the beginning of the game, and you could claw back. And I think we came back and maybe scored 4 runs, and then they scored 5, right, and 6 and 8. So, I guess I do give them some credit for clawing back, but then again, you got pitchers on the mound that are throwing big meatballs because they can throw strikes because they're ahead by 8 runs. So, I mean, if they're throwing strikes and meatballs and we're only scoring 4, that's another concern, Josh, is that we can't even hit.
Nick, you know as well as I do, when you go up 8 runs, the strategy completely changes, right? You got guys, they had young guys out there with 8 ERAs and the pitch, they give up a run. I think it was the 3rd inning, maybe 2nd or 3rd inning. And the pitching coach goes out there and absolutely wears out the young guy. And I, to the person I was watching the game with, I leaned over and I said, "You see that right there? That is a standard. That is an expectation. It doesn't matter if you're up by 8. You might be up by 8 against Tennessee, Vanderbilt,
I felt like he was
Georgia.
My ass out the way he was looking at that kid.
It was great, but I mean, look, like we used to have those conversations on our mound, right? I mean, I miss that so much. And I'm not saying that Gunner's not a good pitching coach. I'm not saying that, but like we'll get to Andy's comment in just a minute, and that's a whole other conversation. But you realize by the 5th inning, we had given up 14 free bases.
That is insane, Josh.
And for those that don't know, for those that don't know how baseball works, 5th inning is the middle of the freaking game. We were on pace to give up right around 30 free passes by the 5th inning. And this is with starting probably our second most reliable pitcher. You know, if you can't ask questions about that, I mean, what can you? And what really bothered me, and I want to make Deggs its own segment, but I do want to allude to it here, and then we can talk about it later. I really and coach post-game interviews are it's an odd bird. I get it. He got on the radio and he said, "Man, we did some magical things at the plate tonight."
Bro, what happened to him, dude? What happened to the Deggs that came in here and would get pissed off?
You did magical things at the plate. Look, when you go down 9-1, you start really paying attention to details on at bats. I'm watching it on TV. So when you're in the stadium, it's a little bit more difficult to watch and pay attention to every small detail. But when I'm at a bar and I'm watching a game, I can see everything on the screen. And shout out to LSU does a great job putting on a baseball broadcast. I mean, they are just freaking top notch about that.
Except for Lynn Rollins.
Except for Lynn Rollins, who is insufferable, and I can never and will never listen
to be fair, I don't think they like him either. So
he's a clown, dude. I mean, I can make a million jokes, but we're watching and we're going through quality pitch versus quality take, quality hack, right? And we are in 2nd, 3rd, 4th inning where first of all, the guy they started had a 6 ERA. And then they ran in some young cats that were trying to find 2nd and 3rd pitches. Like the fastball had velo, but the changeup wasn't sharp, or the breaking ball they couldn't throw it for a strike. So you could tell that they were getting bullpen action, essentially. And we're fouling balls off of our toes, and we're hitting balls off of our thighs, and we're missing mistake after mistake after mistake. And obviously I didn't sit there and chart it. I'm not a freak. But I remembered those at-bats, and the first thing Deggs gets on the radio and tells our fans, who, by the way, I like to think that a majority of the core of our fan base understand baseball and know what they're watching. He has the nerve to say we did some magical things at the plate tonight. I'm sorry, Nick. Like, I know I got crushed early on when Deggs got here because I couldn't stand the way he managed the roster, and I couldn't stand the way he managed the pitching staff, and I couldn't stand the way he did his lineups and all this stuff. I get all that, and maybe I did jump the gun on my criticism, but I'm just telling you, to say to a fan base that you did magical things to a plate at the plate when you're playing a team that you're already down 8 runs after 2 outs, and they're sitting up there telling their pitchers throw freaking strikes, execute the pitch. I'm sorry, man. Like, you lose me on that. You lose me on that. All right. I just, and I'm not killing Deggs and I'm not killing the guys. Absolutely. I don't think this is on the guys whatsoever. I'm just being honest. And I think any Cajun fan watching the game last night and listening to this right now, I think that we can come to some common ground that comment is absurd. And I know I said I wanted to make it its own segment, and I just went into it. But
well, I mean, that's fine, because what else do we have to talk about, Josh? I mean, the game sucked. We didn't execute at the plate. Our pitching got us down 9-1 in the first inning. There was really nothing. I mean, what else do you want to say about it? The game sucked. We looked terrible, and then you have your coach kind of laughing about it at the end, or commenting that we were tough at the plate. But I know I got a little aggravated and I jumped ahead myself. But that's not where's the Deggs that came here and would get pissed off when shit would go wrong during a game? He would get in guys' faces. We talk about alpha male this and wolf pack that, and then we're soft as dog poo-poo when we go out and play a team with a pulse. That's the problem I have, is that we're laughing after losses. We're commenting that we were tough at the plate. You just lost. You just got run ruled 60 miles away. Now's not the time to talk about what you did good. I want to hear what went wrong. And so I don't know what's changed over the past 5 years, Josh, but it doesn't seem like the same intensity, nastiness that we used to have.
and RC brings up a good point. He made the comment in the, how stupid do you think we are? It kind of how I felt when I was listening to that post game. He says we had 10 hits and so did LSU at some point in the game. Yeah. They had 10 hits, and I think at that point, 3 of them were bombs. And we also gave them double-digit free bases, Deggs, which means something is not working somewhere. Like, I'm not an idiot, dude. Like, what do you expect me to think when you're telling me that? And then I think somebody might correct me on this because I was mad and had a couple of beers. I think he said after the first inning, we were as good, or we kept up with LSU. Here's the issue. In the first inning, the game was over. I'm just trying to be as level-headed as I can about it without, it's hard to toe the line of I'm a fan, and I'm also trying to be analytical, and I'm also trying to look ahead at the season. And by no means do I think we're dead and done, and by no means do I think we can't make noise in the conference. I'm just trying to, you got to know where you are to get where you're going. And it just shouldn't look like this right now, Nick. I'm sorry. And I know what the apologists will say. You're starting freshman. You got injuries on the pitching staff. I get it. Simo was out for 2 weeks, and he's back. Toit was already a TBD and then rolled his ankle. So, yeah, that's a loss. He also got shelled at DBU. I mean, let's be honest. Just be honest. I love Dylan Toit. He got shelled at DBU. Okay. Blew the game. Really. If we're being honest. Love you, Dill. That's what happened. Let's just have a real conversation.
Yeah, I think he would say it too. I mean,
and he
you're
would.
not telling anything. Yeah.
Because he's a realist and he's a competitor.
Right.
But going back to your comment, I know I will keep bringing this up until I'm dead, because I was in the stadium when it happened and I could not freaking believe it happened. Hayden Dirk got punked by Southern Miss, and Deggs made the boys stay in the locker in the dugout. And at the time, I was talking to at least 4 players that were everyday guys at that time, and they specifically said, Deggs said, do not come out of the dugout. Now, I qualify that with, I don't know if penalties are stiffer. I don't know if guys are mandatory suspended. I don't know his policies. I don't want to know his policies. I don't want to get too close. All I'm saying is that in the previous regime, if somebody throws a bat at our pitcher, stay with me, Nick, at the pitcher, Tony's setting the dogs loose on anybody, whether it be LSU, whether it be Southern Miss. It could have been Centenary. They're going after him. Those days are over. Coach here, check him out. Yeah. I don't want to hear guerrilla warfare. I don't want to hear alpha.
No,
I don't want to hear water hose boy. I don't want to hear it.
And it's funny, they posted water hose boys after you got your ass kicked. And now 5 minutes before it, we're going to post water hose boys. Nah, dude. what do we call them? Plastic straw drinkers at this point. That's
I
what we
think
feel
I think
like.
I think liberal paper straws was
That's
something
what
in
it
there.
was. It was a liberal paper. You had to add a liberal in there. One of the things Andy brought up, asking about Gunner and what short time should we start asking questions. I think it's always fair to ask the question about like, hey, they're underperforming. Like, what are we going to do? What is the future for Gunner? What does that look like? Because we've been through, let's face it, 3 pitching coaches. We had BJ Ryan, then we had Tibb as pitching coach, and now we have Gunner. And we know, I think I heard through the grapevine, part of the reason BJ left is because he wasn't really allowed to be a pitching coach. He just kind of was there just to sit on the bench and, do his thing outside of a game. But during a game, he had no real power there. My question is like, do you think that's still going on? Do you think Gunner, how much of an impact is Gunner? And is this a Gunner issue? Is this from the top of the house? Is this, is it, a quality of pitch? I mean, I don't think we have any bad pitchers on staff. I just think we have a very inconsistent bullpen, which is what we have had for how long, Josh? And starters who were trying to convert from bullpen guys to starters. And here we go back to that when we thought we were out of that. So I don't know if it's, and that's my question. Is this a Gunner issue? Is this from the top that won't let Gunner be a pitching coach? Is Gunner learning along the way? I don't know the answer to that.
It's tough. We have limited. I mean, we have a little bit more access than most, but you still don't know. Like, why is Martinez at Arizona State and their best pitcher? Like those are the kind of questions that need to be asked. Why was Martinez a total cancer in this locker room, but he's at Arizona State and putting up numbers? You know what I mean? Quality of roster, different culture. I don't know. I think those are the kind of questions that you have to ponder.
And why are we in 3 pitching coaches in? That's another good question. Like, why are we in that position 5 years into the regime?
Well, I think I'll defend the situation this way. When Tony, whenever, I hate talking about this, but when Tony passes away and you're trying to scramble to put together a staff, you know how much people love this place. And I know that BJ, he wasn't looking for the glory and he wasn't looking for the money. He wanted to help. And I think that BJ was, for lack of better terms, a stopgap. He was kind of like a substitute teacher in a lot of ways where, he was coaching college or high school. And then I don't know if he wanted to be a college coach, but he wanted to help. He wanted to fill that void. So I look at it that way, like a means to an end, And then I think that Deggs got into his role and it became his program. And then the next 2 hires are totally on him.
And I mean, and to be fair, Coach Tibb is still here. So it's not like he was a terrible coach. He was just kind of like.
And he's a great asset. I think he's a great. I mean, everybody we've ever interviewed on baseball wise has said nothing but amazing things about Seth Thibodeau. I'm thrilled that he's here.
And I don't want him to go anywhere anytime soon. So let's.
Great recruiter, great coach, very well respected, good scheduler. I mean, he has all that checked. It's still not out of bounds to ask, how are we here again? Where 4 years of full Deggs, almost 5 years, and some of the same issues are coming up. And this is not a TSAB thing. We were asking these same questions before this. We asked some of the same questions down the stretch of last year. Do I want anybody fired? Of course not. But that'll be the first thing that they say. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. We're not calling for anybody to be fired. We're not calling for anybody to lose their job. We're not calling for anybody to be demoted. We're just having a conversation.
And by the way, we were told that's not even having a conversation about this stuff is none of our business, but I think it is. I mean, again, we're showing you the people asking the same questions that we're thinking. So it's not coming from Nick or Josh being disgruntled, but there was obviously a gap in between what LSU put on the field last night, what we put on the field. And again, you can be the number 5, number 8, number 1 team in the country, but look at number 19 Southern Miss getting beat by Nichols last night.
Sure.
They weren't scared they weren't, they didn't go in there and give up 9 in the first inning to Southern Miss. They went out there and played their game and did their thing, and they were well coached and, got out of there with a W on the road. Well, neutral, but still on the road. So it's the expectation of this baseball team is to never get blown out by the team across the basin. And when that happens, yeah, we're going to ask a lot of questions. And I think that's fair.
We've made too many strides in this rivalry, and jackasses can get on the internet and say it's not a rivalry. You people don't understand what you're saying. It is between the fan bases and the people who have been around here 30, 40 years. The score might not say it, but between the communities, the cities, the fans, the universities, you can continue on, especially in baseball and softball. It absolutely is a rivalry. And we have made it more of an intertwined rivalry over the last 10 to 20 years. You cannot go to Baton Rouge and get run ruled. You can't do it. You are starting to undo all of the progress that's been made. I don't care. I don't care what the administrators say and what the people say. I don't care what they say. I'm saying within sports people, athletics, you can't go on the road to Baton Rouge and get run ruled. It can't happen. Because for all of yesterday and probably some of today, the papers, the radio, the TV stations, the Twitterverse, the podcasts, etc. What are they talking about? They're not talking about how, man, Louisiana is a quality program. Man, Louisiana puts up a big fight. Man, the Cajuns went in and fought the Tigers again in Alex Box. That was the progress that we made for so many years. Today, they're saying, man, that was a massacre. What's going on at Louisiana?
Well, actually, they're talking about Cajunomics, but that's the second thing they're talking about.
Well, they're welcome. You're welcome that we provided that extra distraction.
By the way, we did such a good job of shutting them down. They had the game on streaming last night. Speaking of, I want to play this clip, and I mean, if they want to report me, then they're gonna go down too, because they're actually doing what we got them pulled down for. But let me share this file real quick because or this screen. We talk about this is they like to say this is not a rivalry, little brother. We don't care. You don't matter. I mean, I was getting notifications and from the moment that ball dropped until this morning. I think they're still going on. I muted all of them, so I don't even see it anymore. But people are like, man, they're really shitting on you, huh? And I'm like, I don't know how it ended up me, but okay. I'll take it. I'm Twitter. And when we had AYS Sports yesterday, Blake said it. He was like, Twitter is not a real place. Bruh, Twitter is not a freaking real place. And you see that because you have a bunch of idiots who hide behind a fake name just to shit on you. But anyway, this kind of is the epitome of how excited those fans were, because you hear it out of the mouth of good old Lynn Rollins right here. Let's see what Lynn had to say about this nice play, right? Let's after this one, hold on, let's go to the next one. It's one of the 15, hits that they had. Here we go.
And a liner is headed toward left center field. Can anybody get it? Yes! 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 Derek Curiel! He can do it at the plate, and he just did it.
Bro, you're up 10-4. I want to play that again because it's so freaking funny. You're up 10-4.
And a liner
nice
is
play.
headed toward left center field. Can anybody get it? Yes! 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 Derek Curiel!
Bro,
he can do it at the plate.
What was that, Josh? I mean, and that's really how the entire TSAB fan base on social media yesterday acted and continues to act. And
but they don't care about us.
The one guy who keeps asking me, well, what was the score last night? You're an idiot, dude. We know what the score was, and we knew we would get beat. But okay, keep saying that. I don't know what you're accomplishing. Had some interesting memes. I had a corn dog in my face. I had a whole stream dedicated to Nick Doming as a BITCH.
I saw that. You made it.
That was interesting. And then you almost somebody trying to dox you online, Josh. But it's all your fault. It's all your fault, Josh. It's all.
They are excellent at becoming the victim in like a split second, man. You say anything they don't like, you are now the victim. Or excuse me, they are now the victim.
I do want to say the one burner that replied because Preston said something about, I hope they lose by 100, like referring to us. One of our burners went up to him or responded to him and said, "You look like you need to lose 100, brother." And then, of course, that was pretty funny.
Obviously, the sheer numbers, we can't compete because they have a larger fan base. But I got to tell you, for a small group, we do some pretty heavy lifting. The burners are freaking legends.
Yeah, again,
really
good
content
on somebody. They don't know anybody else. We're the only ones out here putting our asses on the line and talk about it.
Which is why I typically don't take it seriously. And Nick, when we grew up, like I'm giving the old guy speech, I guess. It used to be fun. Like you could make fun of somebody's teeth, like I did to Gaden. You could make a little fun of somebody's teeth. You could just have a little fun about the rivalry. These people like pull out Glocks and take pictures of it, and then they hint like they have your address, and then they take it to this whole other level. And I make this joke often, like I forget how old we are. We're getting up there. I forget. These youngsters, man, it's their entire lives revolve around the click.
I know it's baseball, brother. It's
midweek baseball.
We're talking about kids playing baseball in the midweek, and now you got guys doxing you, sending you text messages. I get those all the time. I don't know how, a whole stream dedicated to I am a, what, and it's so weird, but it's funny. And the certain fans who use a lot of fake filtering and makeup on their pictures want to talk about me having a double chin. I don't think I have a double chin. I mean, let me mew. I know Caden liked to mew back in the day. Maybe I need to start mewing more. But it's like they take it to that, like you said, they just take it to that next level that all of a sudden, like people are telling me they're coming to my house and they have my address and they're going to come and tear my door down. Bro, like, I live in Texas. We are an open carry state, and we like those laws. So like a terrible decision. And you're publicly threatening people online, which is not a great look for you, especially when you're a Mr. Doctor or whatever you are.
And they won the game.
And they won the game. Well, you remember the day after they won their natty, their entire existence was us. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That's all they talked about the following day. We had them for 2 days talking about us after winning a natty, bro.
I know.
An actual one, not a midweek natty.
Hey.
Good God. Look at the guy who posted the video. Good job, Lane. Yeah, way
My
to go,
phone
buddy.
would not stop blowing up.
I just doxed your ass. I'm just saying. I just doxed you. My bad. But
everybody getting doxed.
I'm glad you came. And before, I mean, we're just now just kind of getting a little bit of verbal revenge on the idiots.
We
on
just
Twitter.
started, Lane. You
just
came in at the perfect time.
But before we like get into it on your part, what was your experience like at Alex Box? Because I know we always talk about the crap fans. Those crap fans don't go to the games, right?
Yeah, they don't. They
Obviously,
don't really
I don't either,
exist.
according to some people. But they don't go to the games, so it's you. I mean, those fans are baseball knowledgeable. They're a good group. They're fun. They'll fist bump you after a good play.
I mean, hell, we were tailgating with some LSU fans earlier before the game and all that. So
that just proves how much make believe the neighborhood of make believe Twitter is, because those people aren't even at the games.
I mean,
there's emerging
some people
every time they beat us at something.
Some people did recognize me off of the streams and you got interviewing coach. And they're like, "Oh, you're with Raging Review. You killed Cajunomics." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we'll go with
Is that going to be our legacy? We killed Cajunomics. It's so hilarious."
And I actually did for a little while last night, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But like, they're still.
But no, like the fans that
soft, bro.
The fans that I came in contact with, they were nice. We were joking around about the game. Like by that point, it was well out of hand. So we were just joking around, having a good time.
They're normal people. This is the thing. The louder the person is on Twitter, the further away they live from the actual campus. I'm telling you, it's a tried and true formula. Like, take Gaden, for example. He's from Alexandria. He went to LSU Shreveport, and then he went to Natchitoches for a while. I think he lives in Natchitoches right now. He actually works at the hospital there. I found that out. Anyway, it's so the further that they get from Baton Rouge, the louder that they get on Twitter. I guess they think the louder they speak, or the more that they type, the more that Baton Rouge will hear what they have to say. I don't know what it is, but it is a phenomenon that is absolutely correct. The people that you see on Twitter don't go to the games or never went to LSU. Look at their biggest media mouthpieces. Shout out to Blake. Does a good job. Man went to Southeastern. The guy that does Tiger Rag Radio went to USL. And his mouthpiece, big Preston's Gumbo over there, he also
terrible Gumbo.
The terrible Gumbo. The loudest LSU bullhorns aren't LSU people, which is so incredible, because our loudest bullhorns are diehard, dyed-in-the-wool Cajun fans. Like, we went to school, we live here, we still go, we support. These people are just trying to get famous and attention off of LSU, which I hate that for their real fans, because, again, like you guys know, My wife graduated from LSU. All of her family members went to LSU. Well, half of her members went to LSU and graduated there, except her dad, who was a track guy, javelin thrower, my man, for USL. I mean, but like, it's just incredible. The normal people actually go to the games and they'll sit there and they're knowledgeable on baseball and they're smart and they're classy and engage and they'll engage with you. It's these clowns that attach themselves and their life worth to the LSU brand, and all that they care about is the engagement that some trolls will help them destroy somebody.
Because they've never won anything in their life, Josh. This is their winning. They're winning through this.
What's so funny, Nick, one of these idiots made a comment about my kids and my wife.
By the way, before you get into that, we're coming to you in a second, Ryan, so hold on.
Talking about my kids and my wife, you can clearly see like you can't see my entire office because it's fucking huge because I make a lot of money, not like Gaden. But you can see all of my kids' art all over the walls in this room. I'm serious. Like, my entire life is my kids. I coach them in everything. I just got back from Boy Scouts and soccer and baseball. They have a script. And if you don't respond to you're a terrible parent, they move on to you're broke, you're lame, you're ULL little brother fan. It's like they have like a script that they pass out. Like, they attend bum camps. You ever heard of bum camps? No, where they tell them how to get money out of people at gas stations? Nick, have you ever heard of bum camps?
I've heard of bum fights, which I wanted you and Gaten to have, but I've never heard of
TSAB. TSAB is just one large bum camp. That's all it is. TSAB Twitter is just bum camp.
Ryan, what's up, man?
Yeah, this isn't Ryan. This is Caden, and I'm challenging Josh to a fight because he said he would break me in half. You could come up to Natchitoches. You could come up to Shreveport. It doesn't matter. Whenever you want to do it, we could put the gloves on, buddy. Okay, pal.
Oh
hey, pal. I'm not your guy, pal.
I'll F you up. You understand me? My name's Caden.
Yeah,
that's a goated call.
Now that I'm looking at the caller ID, it does say that, actually. I don't know what happened to Ryan.
If it's a 318 number, it's definitely Gaten. I have his phone number here if you want to share it.
Screw you guys. This for Cajunomics.
Did you slide for Cajunomics?
We need Ryan back, man. I don't know what. Jesus.
That was excellent.
That was excellent. Maybe the real Ryan will call us. I think he might be calling us. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, also, open invitation to Gaden because you know he's hate watching. There's the number, buddy. Here it is right here. Scrolling down.
Does it work, though, is my question, because the dude's always on Twitter.
He is on Twitter a lot. But look, here you go here. Here's the number. You keep talking about meeting in person and talking to me in real life. I don't get your infatuation. It's kind of strange. But if you want to call, here's the number. Happy to talk to you. The real Gaden. If this wasn't the real Gaden, just putting it out there.
No, I do have to say they do have a strange fascination with the phallic symbol thing. A lot of pictures of me were cropped and put in those situations. That's actually kind of funny. I do find stuff like that amusing. So, man, but it's those ones that just take it to the next level, and then when you ignore them, they even get more mad, which is funny.
He really got upset when I called him dinosaur teeth. I mean, it really went off the rails. That's when he started.
Dude said I had 3 chins. I was like, and I just owned it. Okay, I'm fat. Well, move on.
I thought it was tame. Really, I was behaving. Really, we got sponsors now.
You were actually very tame last night, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But the old Matt would have shown up at wherever he had to go. And
I've been working on it, Lane. I've been working on it. I'm older now. I'm more wise. But
oh my goodness.
But back to the game. Now that Lane's here, he can give some more insight. I did think that the guys battled at the plate, but you cannot deny that the strategy totally changed. The strategy was stop walking people, just throw strikes. We're up by 1 million. Like we got in there. I think it was Brooks Wright got a base hit. It was a base hit to right center to get us. I think it was 9-4 at the time, and you felt a little bit of momentum, but I don't think anybody was deluding themselves. Like, we don't have the arms. We didn't have the firepower. Even if if we were at full strength, I don't think we did. But based on how we are now, Donkey on the sideline, Drew Markle not able to hit. If you're asking me if this season is doing us a solid for next season, I completely agree. But we're all assuming that we're going to keep all these youngins.
And that's what I was going to say. We're talking. Let's get into that because we had that conversation today with a lot of our former commits, like now decommitting. And it sounds like from the way they're putting it on social media, just got a call from whoever, and they said that, thanks, but we're not going to move forward. And that there were like 3, and two of them I think are STM kids. One of them very highly recruited.
3 in 2 days, all Louisiana kids.
What's going on? And I see RC did call, so RC will get to you in a second. But I don't understand. Like, did we promise NIL and is that not coming through? Are we now changing? I mean, to me, the most obvious thing to that would be we've decided that we are no longer going to try to develop players from high school. We're going to play the NIL game that everybody else is playing. We're going to get some transfers. We're going to get some JUCO guys and play it year to year. Because, and let's be honest, we're trying to do something with that recruiting and developing from high school ranks as we are now. To me, in the NIL world, and now that we're going to be paying 35 scholarships, those guys are going to go to JUCO first before they come here because they need the experience because we're kind of backfilling there. I think that's how it's going to end up going, but I don't know, Just. What are your thoughts?
And it doesn't count against their eligibility anymore.
Correct.
So why not? And maybe that is the shift, Nick, but you also keep in mind, are we going to recruit? And I know that some schools have done this in the past. Troy was famous for it in football. Are we going to over offer and then start pulling schollies? Because if that's how it's going to go, I'm telling you right now, we're gonna burn some bridges.
Well, I mean,
if that's the model
locally with STM, I mean, hell, my brother helps coach STM.
We can't survive like that, dude. I'm just here to tell you, like, if we're gonna piss off local high schools because we're in the rat race, Raging Cajun baseball we have been predicated upon relationships, being able to get guys in here because they wanted to learn how to pitch. And now with Deggs, it's a little bit different. He's a hitting guru, supposed to be. We're getting kids that are going to come in here and learn how to hit the baseball. It's all relationship built. All of it. We don't have the NIL funds. Jerry called me in the middle of the offseason and goes, hey, Ryan's going to love this. He calls me up. He goes, hey, Deggs is going to do the NIL thing, but he has a plan. I said, cool. What's the plan? It's going to be incentive based. So if you it's going to be if your GPA is this, and if you have, this amount of years in service, and if you do this community service stuff, and if you produce at this level, and there's going to be all these tiers of what they accomplish based on, or the money's going to be paid out based on what you accomplish. And I said, I got to be honest with you, Jared, that sounds great. Who's paying for that? Well, the businesses are going to buy in. Well, here's the thing. Do you know how much it costs to have a suite in this new football stadium? Do you know how much it's going to cost to build this new baseball locker room? Do you know how much it costs a freaking park? Do you know how much it costs a freaking tailgate as a corporate sponsor now? Who's paying for this? Is that was the question that I asked him what 5-6 months ago. And now we've got highly touted Louisiana kids at STM getting their schollies pulled. I don't want everybody to jump off the bridge. I'm just saying it's concerning. Are we over offering? Because if we're over offering, we're never going to survive like that. And if we're going to go strictly JUCO and it's going to be a Texas to Louisiana pipeline only, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that strategy. I don't think that works.
RC's going to pay for all that stuff. RC, I heard you writing a blank check, baby. What's up?
Yeah, I've been writing enough checks to doctors lately. I can't do the NIL thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you on, brother. How are you? Thought you called earlier. I guess we got disconnected. I think Caden called in ahead of you, so my bad.
Who?
Yeah. Some guy. You can go back and watch it.
I guess I'm late to the party. Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about?
So we're just talking about the, well, first we're talking about the game last night. I know you weren't thrilled about that, but we kind of got into high school kids getting their scholarships kind of pulled, or their offers pulled, I should say, not scholarships. And 3 of those guys, I don't know if they all came from STM, but we're trying to understand why at this point of the process, kids are getting their scholarships or offers pulled. I think we're changing strategy and going a more JUCO transfer route. Josh seems to worry that we're just we're signing too many guys and now we're having to decommit some of them. Just your thoughts, man.
I think it probably could be a combination of both. I think we have so many freshmen this year, and like Josh said, with BJ Ryan kind of being that stopgap. I think Deggs is probably he probably bit off a little bit more than he can chew this year with the freshmen, and he didn't get the JUCOs or the transfers in the portal. He's probably thinking, well, maybe let's try something a little bit different next year. That's one of the things that I'm thinking that could be the issue. Other than that, I don't really know. I mean, is it for sure that he's just pulling their scholarships? Like that's a known fact.
That's another thing. Because it happened all together, and because I think I read 2 of the 3 on Twitter saying, after being contacted by coach, we appreciate everything they've done. I'm now decommitted, and my recruitment is back open. So it sounds like, I mean, obviously some kids will say, well, you know what, I've decided to move on and decommit. This seems like, hey, somebody called me and now I'm no longer going to be playing for the Cajuns.
Yeah. So it's kind of speculation, but I see what you're saying. I could see, like how I was just saying, maybe he kind of went overboard with the freshmen and not doing a good bit of a mix this year to kind of bridge the gap. Maybe he's thinking, we need to hit the transfer portal hard next year. Maybe it has something to do with the scholarship limits that we're going to be able to have. I really don't know. I really haven't dove into it that much, but I do know this. Something ain't right now. So I don't know if it's desperation. I don't know if it's, we're trying to go somewhere different, but something isn't right this year. What that is, I don't know.
Yeah, and I've heard they've had some player only meetings that they kind of talked about some of the things that aren't working.
That's common though.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not reading too much into that because I like that. I want that to happen on every team. So that happened. Didn't really have much of a change on the strategy going into last night. I think, Ryan, the thing that we want to know what has changed that I see is Josh was talking earlier about the post game where Deggs was talking about how great we swung the bat. And it's like, man, we just got run ruled. Like, where is the Matt Deggs that got pissed off, when we would drop a game to a rival? And we haven't seen that. I saw that when he was an assistant here, and I saw that at Sam Houston State when he was going after an umpire because of a regional 2 years before, and you just don't see that. You don't see that. And maybe it's behind the scenes and that's fine. But I kind of, as a fan, right, I want to see Deggs get pissed off when we lose a game. And I'm not seeing that. I see some players get pissed off, but I don't see it from Deggs. And that, to me, I want to see a little bit more fire out of my head coach there. But I mean, are you going to call them the water hose boys going forward, or the wolf pack, or the alpha males? I mean, that was not an alpha male performance last night, RC.
Hell no. And I don't think that any, I saw something on Twitter earlier where somebody said, proud of the boys or whatever. And I don't think that a wolf pack mentality or the pack, whatever he calls it, would condone being anything close to proud of whatever performance was last night.
Thank you.
I don't know what we're doing at the plate, but we look very, very unimpressive in our approach. And even some of our players look. I know we're freshmen and we're young. Some of our players, we don't even look like the other teams that we play. And I don't know if that's because we're recruiting a different type of person or a different type of player, or we're just young, or this. We don't have any physically imposing players on our team. I think maybe Luke might be the most
Big Donkey's the only one
imposing player.
And Big Donkey.
And he's and I know he's hurt, and I know we have our injuries, and we're trying to work through that. But I know we talked about it last night, and in order to have a 500 year, I think are we gonna do we trust this team to go 19-11?
It's not going to happen, RC. I mean, it's not going to happen. Not from what we've seen, because we thought we turned it around when we beat Nebraska 2 out of 3. Turns out Nebraska's not that good. We go to UC Irvine, and look, UC Irvine swept UC Santa Barbara, who was ranked, so they're pretty good.
And they beat SC last night. They're very good.
But you still shouldn't get swept ever. I mean, that's my expectation is we don't get swept, but it happens. So moving on, then DBU,
no,
right?
Listen. I don't think that at year 5 or whatever, 5 or 6, I don't think we should be getting swept.
That's a good point.
Anybody?
Yeah,
absolutely.
We definitely should not be getting run ruled in a midweek game by fucking LSU. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I don't care how good they are. I don't care. We were just in the box 3 years ago, and they were the number 1 team whenever they won a national championship, and we beat them.
Yes.
I don't care if they're the best team in the country. I really don't. That we should not be getting run ruled. And this has nothing to do with LSU. It has everything to do with where we are as a program in year 5 or 6, whatever we are. We could be playing frickin' Tennessee. We could be playing Wake Forest, Mississippi State. I don't give a shit who we're playing. We should not be getting run ruled by anybody. Save the excuses with the injuries, with the rebuilding, with the youngsters, with the freshmen. I know we'll hit some rough spots. You pitched Andrew Herman and Holzhammer on a Tuesday night against LSU.
Thank you. What's the plan?
You gave up 9 runs in the first inning. If I could see that coming, and I know we talked about it in the group chat, if I could see that coming, and I don't have anything to do with any kind of baseball knowledge that gets presented to anybody that makes any kind of decisions, how come our people that run the baseball program can't do that? That was my whole issue. And if that is a question, then you present the whole thing with getting run ruled and getting swept. And it's a very, very big cause of concern for people like me that really don't understand what's going on in the clubhouse. So is it a bigger issue? Is it because we're trying to run the youngsters out there, but then all of a sudden we're pulling scholarships from incoming youngsters? Are we going to try to hit the portal? It's just a big confusing ball of shit right now, and we're being forced to swallow it, and nobody really knows what's going on.
Well, the problem is, Ryan, we question these things, and I'm told on the side that's none of my business to talk about.
We're the only ones asking the questions, though, Nick.
And
we're the only ones.
None of your business. You are not to ask those questions. So, but give us your money. Give us your money. We want your money. We need all this stuff, but don't ask questions. I don't know, Ryan.
Did you buy season tickets this year, Nick?
I bought him the basketball, and I actually offered to buy baseball, and they said no. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you don't want my money. The TSAB heartthrob got blacklisted, so I don't know, man.
Oh, well, yeah, they hate me. They hate my guts.
No, we know that. I don't know, Ryan. You said everything that we were saying, brother. I mean, it's just it's frustrating. Like you said, we're in year 5 of this thing, and we're still seeing the same shit that we saw 5 years ago that we were pulling our hair out about. At least
it's not. And to comment on that as well. It's year 5, and we still have to wait. In a 56-game season, we still have to wait half the year in order to figure out what we're doing in the lineup, and then we don't have a consistent lineup. But it's like that every year. Like we have to figure it out halfway through the year every year. The last 3 years it didn't matter because we had studs, and then we figured it out. We have a bunch of young kids right now. We got a bunch of injuries, and it's not going to work this year because we don't have the time to figure it out. So that's another frustrating thing. It takes too long to get this shit going every single year. It's worked the last 3 years. It's not going to work this year. So
no, and there's some positive in that. Like, I want to develop, but who's to say that Brooks Wright decides to stay here? Who's to say that Simo doesn't go to Texas and take that money that they offered him in the offseason? Who's to say that any of these freshmen that aren't getting the playing time? Freaking Nick loves Blaine Lucas. He's not getting any playing time, and I know some people ain't happy about it. Like, who's to say they're going to stick around here so all this development and all this sacrifice could be for naught? And what really pisses me off is that everybody can go, well, Deggs made a regional 4 years in a row. Aren't you guys happy? Well, you know what making a regional means? It means you're one of the top 64 teams in the country. Top 64. No, my goal is not to be a top 64 team. Yes, I'm happy to be back in the postseason. Sure. But 2 of those years we had to win the freaking tournament to get in, and one we got an at-large, and we didn't look really good down the stretch doing it. So it makes us. It's tough to ask questions because everybody has that blowback answer that they can say, "Well, we're making the postseason." Yeah, but dude, I don't think people understand that we had a team with Spencer Arrighetti, one of the starters for the Houston Astros, and Connor Cook, who's about to be a big leaguer, in our weekend rotation, and we didn't make the freaking tournament. Like, people forgot all about that. I know that people want to blame Bobby Leday for being a terrible shortstop, and that's why we couldn't win the tournament against Georgia Southern. Everybody remembers that game, but it wasn't about that. We had a pitching staff that was ready to win, and we found a way to not make that tournament. That's been lost in the annals of history. That pisses me off. Those same issues are still on the pitching staff. We have enough talent right now. We have a freaking All-American, and I know he's been hurt, so I'm going to give him some leeway. And when I say them, I mean the coaches. Chase Morgan is an All-American. We should be in a better position. Herman was hurt early, not hurt now. Why are we pitching him on a Tuesday? They've been telling me Blake McGehee is the nastiest guy they've signed in 5 years. He's a midweek starter. Like, I like Blake. I'm not crushing the guy. I'm just saying, like, all of the things that we've learned about these pitchers, Blake's liable to he'll probably transfer to Southeastern and they'll be a tournament team because everybody else who transfers out apparently is they're pitching on the weekends. Again, I go back to Martinez, and there's another one who transferred last year who's a weekend starter too. Somebody can remind me, but why is this happening to us? Nobody's asking those questions, and no media in this town's gonna ask the question. You think Kevin Foote knows? Kevin Foote knows if he asks a real question, he's getting the boot. So we got to come on here and ask.
Shit, Dave got fired when he asked questions.
Dave got fired when he asked questions.
We just
Stephen Cash.
Fired. Yeah, Stephen Cash. That's who
dude. Stephen Cash at one point, like, do y'all remember him pitching against Tulane and Rice? He was untouchable.
He was sick. Yeah.
And then somewhere along the line, they messed with his arm motion and they wanted to do this, that, and the other. And the guy was completely washed half the season, and now he transfers and he's balling. It sounds like I'm going on a rant, and I'm not. I'm just asking questions.
You kind of are going on a rant, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. Therapy. I mean, you could ask, if you want to know about the annals of time, you could ask Caden all about that. I'm sure he knows it. By the way, I have a great clip of I think it was Deg saying, back in the annals of time. And he said that, to me, that was one of my favorite things he's ever said, when he said annals of time. I said that to my brother every now and again, annals of time. Josh, I know you're going to love this, but before we go to that, Ryan, you're going to want to hang up because I'm going to start talking about softball. Anything else you want to touch on? Or you want to hang up? You want to hang on? I'll leave you on.
No, I'm pretty disappointed in softball too. So I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Right.
But if you want to touch on something, we could all touch on Caden if he wants.
Well, he might call back and defend himself. So we'll see.
He'll be happy. He loves being touched.
I love you, Caden. Hit me up. I want that beer, buddy. I love you.
Oh, freaking Ryan. Going to the softball game. I mean, again, there's not a whole lot to talk about on that. That was craptastic as well. I guess the only thing that was good is, Jerry was like, we went up by 4 runs. And then, like, all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, he goes, yeah, we're down 6-4. Like, what the hell happened? He's kind of like Lane taking a video of us being 4-0, and then all of a sudden we're down 6-4. I guess the highlight of that game was the call that I recorded. Let me go ahead and share this, because this is part of the conversation I want to have, is how bad won. And I know you guys, I had it on split screen because after we did 9-1, I'm like, there ain't no way we're coming back. So I might as well just watch something else. And that gave me a little bit of hope temporarily. But then I saw this, and this is awesome. Let's check it out. Hold on, let me go ahead and go back on this. Obviously, it's going to be a check swing. Points down to the third base umpire.
That's freaking terrible. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Who can't see because he's at third base and she's a right-handed hitter. I mean, that's worse than asking the guy in the middle of the field, because maybe at least he could have an angle. One, she was nowhere close.
She didn't swing.
Even Dan was pissed. When Dan gets pissed, something's wrong. But then, I mean, just how bad is this, man? Yeah. The guy behind the plate, by the way, was probably the worst umpire I have ever seen call any game in the history of Everdom, whether it's softball or baseball. That was on the level of like UC Irvine shit. I mean, he was that bad. But yeah, obviously not the reason they lost the game. Don't clip this and be like, well, he was complaining about one call. No, we were down like 11-4 at that point. We weren't coming back. But Josh, it was just overall terrible. Yalain, what's up?
The only thing I can say is like, if Emily hits a double or hits a home run like she's been doing, it's a brand new ball game, and there was 0 outs at the time. Yeah. So I mean, it could have possibly changed it around, but it was a dumb call.
It was to terrible. Make it that point. But Josh, this is just another example of I don't understand why this always happens, that we have just awful officials in every sport. That was just bad, man. That was just bad. If it would have been LSU, I would have posted the video if it was opposite, because that was such a bad call. I don't care who's at the plate.
There's only a couple of explanations. Either incompetence has eaten at the core of collegiate athletics, or somebody had money on FanDuel. I mean, like at some point, there's got to be an explanation to how bad officiating is. And I know we complain about some stuff. We very rarely blame officials for losses, wins, whatever, because I don't believe in blaming. Like, I know a lot of people were mad about the UC Irvine officials, and yes, I thought that they were out to get us, but UC Irvine was a better team. But that right there, the gusto with which he rung her up is dude, let me tell you something. That guy or girl or whoever, I don't know, could not wait to call that. Couldn't wait. Like, there is no freaking way you can see if that's a strike or not. And you can see how quick the camera pans, and he's already like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he was ready to go, bud.
It's an ump show, man. It's an ump show, but not why they lost. And
yeah, it's no different than the TSAB game in baseball where
no.
I think well, first of all, that first call where he he beat him by 2 steps. Hit first base and they called him out. That was insane that we even had to challenge that, because it was such a bad call. Like, one of the other guys should have just come over and said, no, dude, like, we don't need to review it. Yeah. He was safe, but they would review it. And then,
the strikeout call, the first batter of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Ball's in the damn dirt, strike.
Yep.
So it should have been bases loaded, no out. And I alluded to that earlier in the show. Should have been bases loaded, nobody out. And we could have scored 2 runs with that little dribbler on the infield. We still didn't execute, and we still didn't take advantage of the situation. However, poor officiating. No matter how you slice it, it's poor officiating.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that at this level, Tigers, Cajuns, I know it's a midweek game, but there probably was 9,000 people in the stadium, and I don't know what SEC network gets, but I'm sure it's a pretty substantial number. You put that crap out there for consumption. I just, I'll never understand it.
Yeah, and this is a good question from Drew. Appreciate him chiming in. NIL totally out of control. Yes, I mean, I think we can all agree with that, Drew. NIL should be earned before signed. I don't know how well, here's the problem with that. NIL is so overregulated right now, but not regulated. So when I say overregulated, it's at the point where there have been so many challenges in court that it's free reign. So
right,
anything you try to put around NIL, you can't, because you're limited by these challenges that went to court. So this is why Will Wade went to McNeese in 2 years, did what he did over there, because he can do whatever he wants. And he can, hey, you want to illegally recruit players that are already, you can do it, because who's stopping you? NCAA has no control over it.
Well, they did it to themselves, though.
Yeah, totally.
The NCAA has taken advantage of the system for so long. All of these attorneys know they have the NCAA by the balls. That's why they have absolutely no type of discipline or structure. That's out the window. They have them by the nuts. They can do anything they want because they've taken advantage of kids' families and programs for so long. If they try to put their foot down, every attorney in America is going to sue the piss out of the NCAA, and they're going to win because they're dead wrong. They ran an illegal Ponzi scheme all this time. They ran child labor laws, essentially. They took advantage of people, and they kept them out of profiting off of their name, image, and likeness. And as much as I hate the NIL system and the way that it's been implemented or allowed to run free, I totally get it. So it's hard for me to get upset. Half of these guys, like, look at Johnny Manziel as a perfect example. Johnny Manziel made millions, maybe billions of dollars for A&M and couldn't hack it in the NFL. And I think he became a drug addict off of it, and his life is totally ruined. He could not make money off of his own name, image, and likeness, and he was one of the biggest phenomenons in the NCAA football we've ever seen. And he never profited a day in his life. And there have been many others.
Reggie Bush is a perfect example.
Reggie Bush. I mean, like injuries came and they destroyed players' lives. And even though they had a short impact in their sport on a national stage, they made millions of dollars for universities and they never saw a penny. So I can't get mad at it. I can't get mad at it because I get it. If the NCAA would have had a little bit of foresight and these universities would have cared a little bit about these kids, we would not be here. But because greedy fucking idiots were allowed to run free, they totally destroyed the system. The entire ecosystem was poisoned years ago, and they all knew it. And they were just trying to get as rich as they could, as fast as they could. And now that the common man has a little bit of power, it's screwed up the product. And I hate that because I love college sports more than anything. I prefer that more than professional sports. But the problem is that there was no oversight and there was no legislation and there was no guide rails 50 years ago. And now we're having to pay the price. So here we are.
Yeah. If they would have just, grown some kahunas and just put guardrails into place and let people profit off of this stuff, we wouldn't be in this position. I don't know, man. It's just scary to think where it might go. And every coach, I mean, that's one of the questions we ask every coach is like, how do you think this is going to turn up? How is it affecting you as how you coach? What do you think is going to be the future? Nobody knows.
What is this?
Nobody knows. The juju.
Juju, bro. You bad juju, bro. Herm ain't trash.
Come on, man.
Listen, Herm, I will go back to the well on this. Herm is a great change of pace guy.
Herm is put in a too bad situation.
Correct.
That's what's happening with
Herm. The thing about Herm is like a good employee in a bad environment. He screws around and does a good job. So then they try to take him from his strength and they try to plug another hole with him. He's a great electrician and they try to make him a foundation guy. That's what this is. It's not his fault. I love Herm, and Herm is one of those guys that'll just get out there and do what you ask him to do, and he won't complain or anything. It's one of those things where he shows up, does a good job, and it screws him up, and the coaching staff just puts him in. You put him behind a power right-handed arm, he's untouchable. He's shown that a million times. You put him behind a Chase, even a left-handed arm. He is the ultimate change of pace guy. If we had any frontline arms outside of Chase, Herm would be the quintessential long relief pitcher. I love him behind Tillett, even though Tillett doesn't throw 95. He's still good. He's a great change of pace guy. He comes in here and he puts you in a pretzel. But he's not what they tried to make him on Tuesday. It's just not who he is.
But I will agree
with
Bryce.
And you think that they would know that.
But here's the deal. I'll agree with Bryce. You still got to freaking throw strikes. But that goes for our entire pitching staff. You got to except for SIBO. I mean, he's going to come at you and blow you away. But like, we don't have a pitching staff full of SIMO, so we gotta be around the plate. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Boys,
I have a question though. Did y'all see why Coach Prejean got tossed?
So I would assume it was because of the trash ass guy behind the plate, because I think they were chirping. He was off. Y'all, if you go back and watch, and I don't watch a whole lot of softball, but I will because they're my team and they're my girls. But I don't watch a whole lot of it. But I did go back and watch, and it was blatantly obvious we were not getting calls. I mean, she was around the plate, and anything that was on a corner was just not getting called. And I think Lacey just had enough. And I think she was chirping from the dugout, and I think she got tossed by them. So yeah, that's what happened. And then that was followed up by the other play that I showed you with that trash call. So that just tells you that the crew was just awful, man. It was awful. But I like seeing that out of Lacey. I know she's some players love her. You either love her or hate her as a player.
She's polarizing.
But I think she demands shit out of people. And that can be taken one of two ways. But I like Lacey. She's always been super nice to me, but I like seeing our coaching staff get a little fired up.
I do too. And Allie's it's not that she doesn't get fired up, because she does.
You can see the way she
more
reacted.
Even keel.
Yeah. But for her to react that way, and I mean, she reacted the right way. She's like, come on, dude. Like, and then she walked away and said her piece. But
This is also a coach that's won a national championship and been in the SEC, and her skin is thicker, right?
But it has to come watch this crap in Sunbelt,
exactly.
It's like
it's almost comical.
Yeah, you kind of.
But I still think like the comic relief of the night, and I didn't watch softball. I mean, I did. They had it on, and I watched a little bit. But the comic relief of the night is, we go down 9-1, and our entire, I don't know how many, 30 freaking dudes in our message because of Jerry, are we're upset about the game, and we're talking about baseball, and here comes Jerry. At least softball's winning. And I think it was Ryan. Ryan just blast. Look, dude, I don't care. I don't give an F about softball right now. We're getting our asses kicked in baseball. That's what matters. And not 20 minutes later, Jerry said, Jerry's like, well, at least it makes me feel better. Softball's winning. 20 minutes later, literally the same inning, I look up, it's 7-4. Like, oh, great.
He's like Kevin.
Jerry, how are you feeling?
He's like Kevin that was like, well, we won the inning. Oh, yay, we won an inning. Yo, that's awesome. Now we're only down 9-2.
The great thing about being a Cajuns fan is that you learn how to get over shit pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, that was over it like 20 minutes after the game.
Game started, you barely sat in your seat and you're already having to make jokes about it so you can feel better.
Lane, did you drink yourself, to make yourself I was going to say drink yourself to death, but that's not a good thing to say. Did you drink a lot to make yourself feel better? Kev obviously did.
I did not.
My boy was tripping over his own fingers, but
Big Kev was having a good time.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, I did not.
You're freaking boring, dude. I mean, Josh.
I mean, working in a bar,
whether we're winning, we're losing, we're getting plastered. That's how the casting couch happens after.
Dude, one of the burners goes, it's a win-win. Cajuns win, I black out. Cajun lose, I still black out.
That's the right way to go, baby. I respect that. I respect that. Man,
you got to have certain expectations going into the box, right? Like if we win, it's going to be a great night. If we lose, we'll tell a couple jokes. We'll probably fight a dude or two, and then we'll have a couple drinks on the way home.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not gonna shit on the Barstool guys because I do love them. I think they do a good job doing what they do. But that's what Ryan was referring to, is they were saying, still love our Cajuns. They still whatever. And Ryan just lit them up. And look, I agree with them. We still do love our Cajuns, but you can say that in like 3 days. Today was probably not the day, to go try to love up on UL.
Timing is
timing
important.
is important. So let me tell you, the burners and Barstool from 24 is, I mean, you could put that. I think our burners are doing a hell of a job. I appreciate them. They make me laugh every day, but I think they need to pick it up, man, because 24 burners were freaking ridiculous.
They got a couple of OGs from back in the day that put in some serious work, and most of them still have a pretty decent following, and they do a really good job.
Yeah.
I have a strained relationship with the Barstool guys because of what they tried to do with Deggs and the burner account and Miguez and all that stuff. So I don't. But the new guy is a lot more. What's the word I want to use here? Because
mild tempered, or
there you go, mild tempered. Not as competitive. Nicer, maybe more religious. I don't know, but we
Deggs.
It's a perfect.
We have new Deggs.
It's perfect. Perfect symbolism.
Oh man, good times. Well, look, you flush it and you move on, and that's what we're gonna do because we have some a-holes to play this weekend. Not the team, just the fans. So I look forward to JMU this weekend. But boys, I like I said when I came on, Josh, I thought it would be 20 minutes because I didn't have anything to talk about. We're knocking on an hour 15.
I held back most of what I was going to say.
Well, and again, we have sponsors. By the way, do you want to talk about those sponsors? Because I think we need to give them shout outs, and we're going to work on. Look, we have some new stuff coming up that they'll be pimped out on. But do you want to talk about that real quick?
I usually text back and forth with Darren when we play LSU, but I guess he had roofs to build or something because we didn't talk very much. But Lafayette Roofing, the official roof of everything and the official roof of Rage and Review. But again, man, like, don't think because you see his logo everywhere around town that he's just pouring money into the university because he's loaded like that. They give because they want to support. And as he told me one time, he said, look, some people hunt, some people fish. My hobby is the Cajuns. I go to the games. I set up my RV out by the stadium, by the baseball park or whatever. this is what I do for fun. And some people go on hunting trips that last 3 or 4 days. At least my hobby only lasts 3 or 4 hours. So my wife likes that very much. And I thought that was very poignant and wise. So Lafayette Roofing, one of our great sponsors. He's been with us for years. Darren and the guys. I mean, what can you say? Family, all of them. Great crew. Very, very professional, but honest and transparent people to do business with. And I just love Darren and everything he stands for. He's one of us. Patronize the sponsors. It's springtime. It's about to rain. You're going to have some tornadoes and damage to the roof. Call Lafayette Roofing. Please do that. Lafayette-roofing.com, by the way. I remembered. Recovery Chiro Med, Brett Venable, one of the most innovative chiropractic clinics around. This guy he's literally teaching classes at Tulane. That's how revered and how respected that clinic is. And I just have the utmost respect for him. He works with Raging Cajun athletes every single day. They are, for UL, that's the go-to clinic. Don't call the doctor, no, I messed it up, Nick. Don't call the law, call the doctor. We're going to get it in French. Don't call the law, call the doctor. And that's Brett Venable. That's for any of your chiropractic needs and beyond. He can help you with so many different things. If you have a wreck or anything like that, get in touch with Recovery Chiro Med. Our guy Kyle Menard at Raging Hydration. Mobile IV. Like, what's better for a Cajun fan? You can go to Baton Rouge. You can take an ass whipping. You can drink all day long, and then you can call him from your apartment. Kyle, I'm dehydrated. Come hook me up. I need to be able to perform for this meeting this afternoon. I'm dehydrated. Come on now. And he'll roll up with his mobile equipment and gear and everything. He'll get you hooked up. Raging Hydration, super cool business model. Look him up. And look, this is one of my big regrets from last episode. It was a good one, but I said it was Lafayette Eats. Obviously, it's Eat Lafayette. Everybody knows Eat Lafayette. Ben Berthelot. My bad, Ben. I'm sorry about that. But Eat Lafayette. Y'all know the logo. You know Lafayette Travel. One of the most integral parts of our advertising campaigns for the restaurants, the great restaurants in our community and in Acadiana. We do food better than anybody. I don't care what New Orleans says. I don't care what Jerry says about New Orleans. I don't care about Baton Rouge. Don't even need not apply. Exit the chat. Yeah. Lake Charles. We're not even gonna. Lafayette, Acadiana area, best food in the world. Best food in the world. Period. I don't care what anybody says. And Eat Lafayette is at the forefront of promoting those businesses. So please, by all means, Eat Lafayette. Support all the small businesses. Get you a po' boy. Get you a muffalata in town. Get you one of our Cajun style pizzas. Whatever it is. Eat Lafayette. You know what's cool about Eat Lafayette is they just sponsored the Sunbelt tournament in Pensacola. So yeah. So I always thought that was cool. We have way more sponsors that we're bringing on slowly. If we can get our asses in gear instead of having to do content for the masses. We got a lot of people coming through. By the way,
it's so much better than hearing Visit Myrtle Beach. You remember when they did that for every conference? Oh, dude.
The worst is when you fall asleep. You fall asleep and you can hear that and it wakes you up. It's the worst.
Conway is not Myrtle Beach, but we're not, whatever. We'll move on.
That's a whole other thing with Coastal. But shout out to Coastal for beating Troy on the road. Well, no, I think they hosted him. Anyway, and I think Nick went viral again off of a Troy tweet. It's just amazing. And here comes Jerry with the "Oh no, Lafayette food is better than no." Okay, good.
Yeah,
we agree.
He can sit there on Twitter, but can't call in. All right, whatever, dude.
Missed the shot. Anyway, patronize the sponsors. Patronize the sponsors. Patronize the sponsors, please. They're awesome people. They're one of us. They love Rage and Review. They love Cajun Athletics. They do it because they're real supporters, not because they try to attach themselves to a brand to make themselves feel good about themselves, like Gaden and this guy that's on the screen right now. And there, like I said, there'll be more sponsors that we've already brought on board, but we were working on the campaigns. And look, we're going to be very intuitive about it. We're going to be very intentional about how we present them to you guys. Live segments, live interviews with these people that are come in and tell us about their products and how they're integrated into the community. I'll say less because I know I did a lot about the sponsors, but it's hard to cram all the good shit into 2 minutes. So
because they're good people, dude. Like these are real people.
I could do 10 minutes on each one. Guaranteed.
I know. They're awesome. But look, Daryl did find the home plate umpire last night. This is why I'm posting this. What's what he said? He said the home plate umpire at Lamson. Makes sense now, doesn't it? Whatever happened to that guy? Oh, there's no national game. It's going to be regionals. He'll show up and do that and all that stuff.
You got to give him some credit for being a professional clout chaser, though. Like, I almost respect it.
That is something. By the way, I just called Jerry out. Guess who we have on the line?
Is it Gaden?
No, it's Jerry. I mean, I don't know.
So
Is
close.
it Jerry? What's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, you called me out. You said I'm on Twitter, so I figured I'd come and say hi for a little while.
Well,
Great
I'm glad.
job, great
Yeah.
show so far. Sorry, I couldn't make it.
Are you glad I'm holding down? We're holding down the fort, Jerry.
Oh, absolutely, always.
What's up, bud? What are y'all up to?
I was just kind of wondering is when Louisiana went 1-0 in the baseball game, what happened afterwards? I'm kind of wondering.
Thanks, Lane. What happened after that? What after?
Look,
Lane's tuned out. He's like, I don't have time for this. Lane, what happened after we went up 1-0? Lane? Oh,
I don't know. We got free publicity.
Look, the way I look at it.
Hey, Lane gets it.
He gets it. We got him. Yes.
Hey, look, that gave us easy traffic, so I'm not going to complain about it. We got a lot of impressions from it. I feel like it's weird because we get run ruled, and we kind of knew going in that this was most likely to happen just based on the circumstances. Yet, I feel like there's like more LSU people that are angry at us for whatever reason than run ruling us. Do y'all get that vibe too? Like, there's a lot of anger on Twitter right now. It's weird.
What they won't admit is that we really do occupy space up in their brains, and we really do own them. And they'll get on there, and they'll get behind their troll Twitter accounts and be like, LSU, ULL, little brother. But they will spend the next 3 days talking nothing but USL.
Correct.
And by the way, back in the day, never happened. Back in the day, they really did not care about UL, USL, SLI, whatever. Now they really care. We occupy pretty good luxury real estate up here. It's just true.
I mean,
go on Twitter right now and look it up.
Funny. I just find it ironic because they talk about, it's all we don't like you because of the whole Cajunomics thing. And I'm thinking 2 years ago when we won in Baton Rouge, you had people that, like, was it Jordy Collada show that called out our fans? You had the Mike Scarborough call out our fans. You had that crazy lady on Twitter who made fun of Coach Robe's death.
Yeah, Amanda DeLossis, by the way. Her name is Amanda DeLossis. She went to Acadia High School. She faked a seizure our senior year because she was embarrassed. She fell asleep at dinner on a band trip and went to UL, graduated from there, has a brick, and made fun of Coach Robichaux dying. Yeah, I just want to throw that out there.
I mean, like that, and so when people say it's all because of Cajunomics, I'm like, no, this has been going on for a while. I mean, every time we play it, it seems like there's a lot of trash talk, and they can say, well, you're irrelevant, but they'll type an essay about how irrelevant we are.
Now you're sounding like Preston. Yeah, Preston will talk about how irrelevant we are for 20 minutes.
Well, that's for another time, but yeah. No, look, I'm not. I heard everything you guys were talking about. It's one of those things. I've just kind of accepted it. We're at the stage of acceptance with this is who we are, and let's see what happens from here. But yeah, I was a little confused with Coach Deggs' comments after the game. I mean, look, I guess he wants to see a silver lining with all of the crazy circumstances going on with this team. But I mean, I don't know. Like that threw me off as well. I guess we just scratch this game off and see what we do against JMU. We still haven't beaten JMU yet, guys.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. And my brother even reminded me of that when I was talking to him about the game this weekend.
I just hope the weather cooperates. It's supposed to rain, man. I just hope we can get all 3 games in and
Has there been a weekend series where it hasn't rained?
It's good
at home.
Yeah, Jerry, he was asking, has there been a weekend series where it hasn't rained? I don't know. I mean, nothing's been delayed, right? This would be the first time,
I guess, of rain.
Yeah, no, there has been that threat every weekend. Wow. Yeah. Like Coach Johnson said, he never knew it rained so much in Louisiana until he came down here.
But here's what I wanted to say. Like, remember, like the comments after the game would kind of worry me a little bit. And I was just kind of scratched my head, like to what Josh alluded to, because I didn't listen to the post game. I was just, Josh kind of told me what happened. It kind of reminds me of like the Bob Marlin era of basketball when we lose by 30 and you see people comment about how hard the kids played. Oh, they played really hard. It's like we lost by 30, like all of this, we played hard. I've always said, like, even after a loss, what you think our players just went out there and just lollygagged? Like, they're always going to play hard. It's just we have a standard now, and
like I said, we kind of knew what was going to happen going into this game, but at the same time, it's still frustrating because, I mean, how many batters did we walk home last night? Like, how many runs did we give them?
I think we
had 16 free bases.
Yeah, 16 free bases, dog.
But to comment on your thing, okay, we have a standard now. What's the standard? I would love to know what it is. Is it making a regional?
The standard for us always should be to compete in the top 30, top 25, top 30. If that's like last year, we went to the regional, we made the round of 32 or the final 32. Like, to me, like regional finals, super regionals is a realistic goal for us. With a sneaky trip to Omaha every once in a while, I think that is a fair.
Let's talk about that.
Our standard should be we get better every year, and we have for the last 3 years.
Taking steps, I agree. But so if we reside in a top 5 RPI league, right? Top 5 RPI league.
Yeah.
And the other program that's consistently what we call our peer, that's what we say, Southern Miss.
And you could throw in Coastal. I know they're up and down, but Coastal
sure.
is.
Okay, fair enough.
Southern Miss, I think, even best that, right?
Coastal's been to a super recently. Southern Miss has been to a super recently. When's the last time we went to a super? 2015?
15, yeah.
So what's the standard here? Like, honestly, 2015 is 10 years ago. That is a once in a blue moon situation. So what's the standard? Because if making the tournament is the standard, I'm out on that.
But that was but again, you got to get better. So okay, we made it 3 years in a row. We need to take the next step. We ain't looking like we're taking the next step.
Not only have we not taken the next step,
we've regressed
majorly. And some of it is injury, and some of it is youth. I get it. But dude, you had a core coming back. Stelly, Amade, Cuff is a sophomore, but you had Jose. You had guys in place. You have Chase Morgan, an All-American pitcher. Nobody can tell me that this is okay. Nobody can tell me that this was the standard and this was the expectation of 2025. I'm sorry. Nobody in this program, and you know it, Nick, and y'all all know this, what I'm saying. Nobody was talking about being a 500 freaking ball club.
No,
nobody.
We had Kendall Rogers on here. Now, Kendall, bless his heart, he does this every year. He comes up, he pumps up the team. He sees the talent. He knows the kids. He says how good we're going to be. And like going back to what Ryan's saying, he's like, here we go again. We're in the middle of the season trying to figure it out. We usually figure it out before the middle of the season. Like at this point, we're kind of like, okay, I think we got our rotation. I think we got our lineup. This is significantly a step back from what we have been in the last 2-3 years. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's going to be the situation like we had with softball last year, because softball was at this point.
Well, you can't be
with a below 500 record, and they blew the doors open.
The whole program was blown up. That's just completely. And Glasgow left without nobody had a clue. He left us in the middle of a transfer window, and he took 7 players with him. Half of them were All-Americans. Completely different situation. This here, if you go back to Deg's comments in the fall after we played LSU and listen to what he says, this dude's acting like we're a top 25 freaking team. And I think every one of us expected that, especially with the pitching staff that we assembled.
Well, I'll say this. Let me chime in real quick. Like, look, I didn't realize we have 24. There's 32 players, 35, something like that on the roster. Out of that 35, I believe 24 are freshmen and sophomores. So I will say, I hope that these guys stick around, because I mean, look, an Owen Galt, a Brooks Wright, dude, if somebody throws them money, I love those kids, but they might leave. So the good news is that we do have enough youth to where if they stay, even in this tough time of NIL, if they stay, then I think we can build something special in the next year or two. The problem that I have now is, even in spite of the youth, you shouldn't be getting swept by McNeese. You shouldn't go on the road to Hammond, lose 7-1 to Southeastern, only giving 4 hits. You shouldn't be getting run ruled by anybody, like RC said. Even if it's LSU, you should not be getting run ruled by anybody. And you shouldn't be losing games off of blunder errors and lack of aggression at the plate. I think even with the youth, it's the fundamentals that we're struggling with that bothers me. Like last night, the 16 free bases. I mean, come on. I don't care if it's LSU.
But why are we still talking about this halfway through the freaking season, dog?
And this is Herman.
That's what I'm saying. And
this is not Kirby. This is not Will Taylor. This is a seasoned vet.
But
make the adjustment
across the board. They all do it. except for SEMO. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're trying to be too cute. I don't know. I know we had road pitching for colors. I don't know what that is but like we're halfway through the season and we've almost regressed. If we're being honest, we certainly haven't improved. It's almost a regression because now we have players that are injured. So I
guess. RC made a point, asked if we can go 19-11. Do I think we can go 19-11? I think it's possible because let's be honest, the schedule lightens up a lot compared to the first 5 or 6 weekends. Okay, so ULM.
Fact checker Lane. Does it lighten up?
They're not. What's that?
We're about to fact check you on that, but go
ahead.
We're
fact checking because this league is good.
Fine, that's fine. I mean, you still got Southern Miss. You still got a decent Texas State team. But I mean, look, the first 5 weeks. I mean, Nebraska's not as good, but San Jose State's a lot better.
I am worried about losing the series to ULM. We could get swept by ULM. I've watched them play. So is
it on the road?
Is it on the road this year? I don't know. Fact checker Lane may look at that. Yeah, but the point is, Jerry, we could. I get you're saying that we're having a little bit of a step back. But you don't have to play a UC Irvine or an LSU or a DBU to throw strikes. That's not, the other teams are just too good. If we don't throw strikes against a ULM or a JMU who we've never beaten or anybody in this league, we are going to lose the series. Yeah. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If we don't do what we do.
Remember, like against those other teams, we couldn't hit off of them either. And I'm curious to see if this optimistic mindset that our hitting is getting better, against these lesser quality teams compared to a UC Irvine, I would hope we can hit the baseball to kind of compensate for the lack of pitching. I'm not.
Pitching's been better than hitting.
I'm not going to come in here and say we're gonna kick the doors down the second half of the season. But I will say that I am curious, starting this weekend against a JMU team that's pretty kind of struggling a little bit this year, if we can find a way to build some confidence. I mean, I don't want to gauge what happened last night as like this, premonition that we're just gonna be bad the rest of the year. I mean, look, that LSU team, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like they can win a national title. They're that.
No, they can't. They don't have the pitching to win a national championship. But it's not even the point. They're not winning a national championship. They don't have the pitching. But it's not about that. That game is irrelevant to us.
They're a top 5, but they're still a top 5 team, is what I'm saying.
But they're not a national championship. They're not. But what I'm saying is I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. The game is basically irrelevant to us because the game, we know that we can't compete with a team like that right now, especially in the way that the injuries and the shit. But it's the coaching decisions. When you're up against the wall, the decisions that are being made is way more concerning than the talent level. That's what I'm focusing on.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, that's definitely a factor into it, But what I'm saying is I'm just kind of curious to see what we look like with the remainder of the schedule. I mean, we've got, look, Arkansas State's not playing too well. Marshall's okay. They're not bad, but like JMU's struggling right now. Texas State's going to be a challenge, but we don't
play Marshall this year.
So, I mean, look.
Tell us the scheduling.
Do I think we could be a 500 team? Yes. I think we can finish above 500, but we're going to have to fix some of these issues, and that includes throwing strikes. If we can do that and hit the ball, we can turn it around. It's just a matter of if we want what our want is, and we cannot have any more performances like we had in the midweek game in Hammond playing Southeastern where you only mustered 4 hits. Now, if that happens, we ain't finishing 500. We're gonna have our first losing season in 6 or 7 years. But we're halfway through. I mean, I don't like what I see now, but maybe there is a chance we can turn it around. I mean, there still is a chance we can turn it around. It's just the uphill climb is going to be a lot more difficult than what we've seen over the last couple of years.
Well, let's do this. Okay, so segment for maybe for the pregame coming up this weekend, because we always try to do that. If not the pregame after the weekend series, let's get that together. Let's look at our schedule and each come up with what you think the remaining record will be for the rest of the year. I want you to find the games tell me the series you think we're going to be over 500, because I'm interested to hear, because I just don't see it. Andy brought it up. He said we're struggling in midweek games. We're so inconsistent, man. We lose against McNeese and then kick Southeastern's ass, and then you just don't know what team you're getting from one day to another. And I think that, again, Josh alluded to it, and we've said it in past seasons, the inconsistency of a lineup, the inconsistency of a pitching rotation all leads to that, because you get comfortable and settled in where you are in the position, and then you're pulled out of that and you have to go somewhere else. That's tough for a player. So
I mean, we struggle with Texas Southern.
I know we struggle with Texas Southern, Jerry.
And I mean, I get it was rain and all that, but
excuses. I mean, it was
we
excuses.
gave up 11 runs that game.
Oh man, McNeese. Well, the lights at night. You can't. Are you kidding me?
That was a red flag. Does anybody not look back at those comments and go, "What?"
We said it. We said it when that happened. The lights.
The lights. Hold on a second. You just told me guerrilla warfare. You just told me guerrilla warfare, and now the lights are rough. Look, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to beat up Deggs. I'm not trying to beat up Deggs tonight, and I've gotten my share of flack for blaming Deggs for stuff, and I still think I'm right about that. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But those are the kind of things, like, if we're gonna kill Bob Marlin on saying stupid shit after losses, like it was good for the goose, good for the gander. The lights, come on, man, come on.
Demontre's asking if is 20. I don't know when his contract's up, but he's asking 2026 contract year for Deggs. Is he feeling the pressure? I don't think so, man.
I think, and he can correct me on this, but I think it's Dumatrate. But
what did I say? Demontre?
Demontrate, like
I like that. I like the way I say it better. It's like Desarmo, DeZarmo, DiGiorno.
One of the best, all-time best Cajun memes.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters, because who's putting pressure? Who's putting pressure?
Bro, we had a coach for 15 years that got us to 2 NCAA tournaments, but he won a lot of games, so we were good with it, right?
Hey, go back and watch the press conference when the radio guy is like, "Oh, we're here to win championships, and that's our standard." Except I defended a guy who was 6th place average over 15 years. It's amazing. Who's putting pressure though, Chris? Honestly, like I don't. Who's putting pressure other than like the conversations that we have on this pod?
That's it.
We're the only ones
putting pressure. No,
there's no radio, there's no TV, there's no press, there's no. Who's putting pressure?
And to be
TJ
fair,
ain't firing nobody.
I'm not saying Deggs has. I mean, Robe had years where you went 500. I'm not saying that Deggs has to go 500 or better than 500 or we fire him this year. It's not going to happen, and I'm not expecting it to happen. And I would think we're silly for making it happen. But if we continue to do what we're doing this season, we have attrition next year. We have guys that we're pumping up as going to be the greatest team in the world, and we do it again, then yeah, there should be some pressure on any coach that does that.
Higgs is gone next year.
I'm worried about Simo gone, man.
I'm firmly in the camp that Simo's going to take the money and bounce. Who wouldn't? I would. If he were your kid, Nick, are you going to tell him not to take the money and go to Texas? I'm telling, like, I mean, we're making life decisions out here. Let's be honest. Like, so I think Torres has one more year. We got a couple of guys that are going to stick around.
I think Torres likes it too much down here.
I think Torres gets an extra
another
year
year.
Because of the Duco thing.
But I don't think
that's what I was
Torres
talking about.
I don't think he wants to move anywhere else. I think he's good here, but still, that's a possibility.
Could be, but
I mean,
I was
when you're an All-American pitcher and you don't get the support to have national prominence, because, you know, it doesn't matter if he's an All-American and goes undefeated the rest of the season. It's all going to be based on how the team does. And if we suck, he's not getting attention. And
dude, you're going to kill a kid for wanting to win a national championship?
No.
I'm a competitor, and I'm like we, you know, I know you talk to his parents, and I do from time to time. Like, I'm not going to tell his dad, like, y'all are assholes for leaving the program. You know, we got to be loyal. He's from Texas. If he's going to get an offer to go pitch for the Longhorns or for TCU or for A&M, like, yeah, go play for Schlossnagle, try to win a national championship. Who's going to be mad at that? He gave you every opportunity to build a team around him. I'm not going to be mad at him. So we're sitting here talking about, we're developing the young guys, and I want to develop. I think that's part of it should be a multi-pronged approach, but we're building the next team with bubble gum and tape. Like, these kids, Brooks Wright very well may get multiple very nice NIL deals to go play somewhere else.
He's probably getting that offered right
now.
All of them are getting calls right now.
Now, it's a little different because they're from here. Maybe they feel a little bit of loyalty, and maybe that's different. And it was like that in the past. But we're talking about building the team based on dreams at this point. We got to be better than that. The plan has got to be more solidified than that.
I just thought, Jerry, before we wrap it up, I think Josh and I's frustration, and I appreciate you being positive, but I think our frustration is we're in freaking year 5 having these conversations. Like, we should be past this, bro. Maybe.
No, look, I agree. And look, the thing is, I'm not writing the season off yet. I kind of accepted what we have. At the same time, I'm kind of a wait and see type of person in this particular situation, just because, like this past weekend, you go to South Alabama and really in the 2 of the 3 games you dominate, right? I still think that's possible,
suck.
but it does. But Josh, again, yes, they're not good, but at the same time, there's a lot of teams like that in the Sun Belt that are struggling. It's not like
fair enough, but that's why I asked what our standard was. I mean, it's freaking April. We're a weekend away from April, and that's why I said, "What's the standard?"
Southern Miss had a coaching change 2 years ago,
and they're ranked 15th in the country.
They will destroy us at the end of the season. And oh God, what is that dude's name? Cloverfield's going to put this on. He's going to clip this shit.
Shout out to Cloverfield.
But anyway, he's funny, dude. I wish he'd do stuff for us. But
if they're our peer, Nick, if they're our peer, like, how are we going to sit here and be like, well, we're injured and we have freshmen? There's no rebuild over there. They reload every year. Jerry, come on, Andy, give him a break.
Somebody's saying that you're starting to sound like the Rebounders Club, man.
I'm gonna take over Jerry right here. We need some optimism tonight.
I'm a member now, so maybe it's rubbed off on me.
Oh, Jerry's trying Jerry's trying to run for president of the Rebounders Club.
Listen,
that'd be interesting.
Jerry's comments in no way reflect Rage and Review or anything that we believe.
By the way, Jerry, I do have a very important question to ask before we kind of try to wrap this up, because we've been going a while. I saw one of the memes that they put out there. You know, they clipped our one of our stream pictures the TSAB fans did, and there's one floating around that says, "Look at this ugly guy," and it's not even me, it's you, dog. How do you feel about being the ugly one out of the 4 of us? I mean, Lane, I love you, man, but that beard, I would think, would lead somebody to tip them like, "Oh, look at this guy, he looks like a trucker." But no, they went straight for freaking Jerry. Jerry, how you feel about that, man? You're the ugly one, bro.
It's fucked up.
Look, man, first of all, half of these people don't even have their profile pick up, and the ones that do have the nerve to talk about anybody else's looks, okay? I mean, I've seen what some of these people look like, and yeah, judging other people based on their looks, based off of what they look like, yeah, no, I could care less. By the way, Lane, I'm not clowning your looks by saying you look like a trucker. I mean, there was a whole category. What the hell, Nick? Cheese him, dude. Look, I heard Caden likes truckers, so, you know, he might not be your type, but you might be his. I don't know. Jerry, it's been fun. We're going to wrap this up. Anything else before we go? Yes. No, y'all have a good night. I'll talk to you all on Friday. All right. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. All right, boys. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. We're at about an hour 45. I'll go around the horn one last time. Trucker Lane, Fact Checker Lane. I'm not going to live that one down. That's going in the group chat right after this. I already hear it going off. Lane, any final thoughts for today's episode and moving on to JMU, or you just want to close the book and call it a night? We still live in TSAB's head. Yeah. I mean, that's bound to happen. It continues to happen year after year, week after week. I mean, we still have notifications going off on that one tweet from yesterday. So just shows you how much they care. They say they don't care, but they don't care. But yeah. But yeah, hopefully we can sweep JMU because we need something good to happen. It'll be interesting to see who we pitch Saturday and Sunday. But we'll see and go from there. TSAB Heartthrob. Any final thoughts?
When you get a team like JMU at your house, you beat them. You dominate them. You wear them out. What do you do with a bad opponent? You wear them out. That's what you do. And that's what we need to do this weekend. I'm not saying I don't have respect for the program, because I do. Somewhat. I hate their fans because they're pompous and they're delusional, and I can't wait to have a back and forth with JMU Twitter, but they're not good, and we're not good either, but we're at home. And we have one of the most significant home court advantages, home field advantages that there is in college baseball. I'm sick of the excuses. I don't want to hear another excuse. You take 2 out of 3 minimum from this team, and let's start moving forward. At some point, you got to turn the page. I know we have injuries. I know we're young. We're not that damn young. Again, it's almost April. It's time to take the next step. And we've earned our stripes and we've taken our lumps, and it's time. I think we're all ready for that. College sports moves a lot faster now, so they're going to have to catch up. Somebody's got to make an adjustment somewhere. Coaching staff needs to be better, period. Y'all can kill me for saying it. Coaching staff's got to be better. That's on the pitching side and on the offensive side. Everybody's got to be better because this is unacceptable. This is not our standard. I asked the question because nobody can tell me what our standard is right now. Is our standard making a regional? Well, I don't accept that. Hiring Deggs was not about getting to a regional every year. Hiring Deggs was about walking through the gates of Omaha. Did he not say it? He said it.
We play it every single episode, man.
Absolutely. And that's where we belong, because that's the type of program we have here. That's the kind of fan base we have here. That's the kind of prices the tickets cost. That's the kind of financial support people have committed. It's time to get back. You want to talk about the business of Raging Cajun baseball? The business of Raging Cajun baseball is expecting to be in a regional every year, every other year, period. That's what Southern Miss expects, and we act like they're our peer. So why can't we do it here? Just say that. Last night is irrelevant. It is really a midweek game. We weren't going to win. We all knew that. I'm over it. The people that get on these platforms and do the things that they do, like this, you can say a million things about how trashy they are and trailer park and dumpster divers. And I can get into the insults, but it's a waste of my time. But then there are certain select people like Gaden who think that they can take it and cross the line and that there are no repercussions. But I'm just going to tell you, you would be incorrect in thinking that. And if you think that this is over, man, you are wrong. This has just begun, and you picked the absolute wrong person to fuck with. I just know that. And I'm not going to say anything explicit here because I don't want to give anybody any fodder, but man, you made a huge mistake. And that'll become evident the longer that this goes. But anyway, beyond that, we've gone back and forth with every fan base across the Sun Belt, some in the SEC, lots of people across the country. And we never, ever have to deal with the absolute Seward rats that we have to deal with anytime we play Baton Rouge. And I just want to make that clear. Like, it's not about the banter, and it's not about what we say or how we say it. It is all about the audience, and it's all about how they respond to the things that are really nothing for everybody else. And it's why people hate LSU fans. And this is like countrywide. People hate LSU fans because of Gaden and trolls like him. And I'm gonna keep doing it, and I can't wait till he responds so I can continue my step up tier. But just understand that it's not a mystery why people hate their fans. And the more that we deal with them on a professional sense, Nick, the more that we get to talk to their SID and their communication and their coaches, you start to understand that it's really not the school. And yeah, there are some pompous assholes and they can be pricks, and I get that. But 9 out of 10 of them are just professionals, and they're doing their job, and they do a good job at what they're supposed to do, and their broadcast is A1, and their teams are well prepared and they're well coached, and they are pros at what they do. It's not really about that. It's just about this awful following that they have. And I've just gotten a PhD in learning about that dynamic. And this is just another one of those refresher courses. Anytime you engage with their fans, get ready, because here they come. The trash is coming out, man.
Yeah, I mean, perfect example on the screen. Has Rosary in her name and making fun of Coach Robichaux passing away. By the way, had some of her fans defending that and saying, Robe was trash anyway. I played American Legion and he hated you. Well, like, come on, dude. Now you're just saying stupid shit just to piss us off. Anyway, yeah, that's about it for me, boys. By the way, you said something, Josh, that really hit. We do have one of the best atmospheres in the country in baseball, so definitely get out to the Teague this weekend. And also the best 7th inning stretch in all of college baseball. Wanted to rub that in, Josh, because we know how much you love center field. Like, subscribe, share, talk about us, even if you want to be a TSAB fan. I mean, there are LSU fans who are cool as shit, and then there are TSAB fans. We saw a lot of TSAB fans last night. To the LSU fans watching, appreciate you. Yeah, and again, like, subscribe, Tell your friends. We would love to continue growing. Josh, one last thought.
Rest in pieces, Cajunomics, bitch.
Yeah, I got that. I will take credit for shutting them down last night. So my name was on that too. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like literally, Nick Domingue shut this down.
You should have put his name on it.
Oh, Caden? Oh, that'd have been a guy.
No, not Gaden, Ash.
Oh, Ash Reese.
What up?
We know who you are now. Be careful what you say. All right. For Lane, for Josh, for Jerry who dialed in, I am Nick. Y'all have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you hopefully before this weekend. And until then, take care, everybody. And as always, go Cajuns.